As you guys may or may not know, the FNAF chapter has been leaked and teased multiple different times, and yet we still know very little about it. All we know so far is that Scott is working very closely with Behavior since he wants to make sure everything is done correctly, and that it's coming out sometime this summer of 2025. So we can most likely expect a lot of information this June from the devs. They're most likely going to do a live stream with Scott explaining how everything is going to work, and then most likely release the PTB sometime in June. As for the actual chapter itself, we don't really know anything. However, these are some speculations that I think is going to happen with the chapter. As for the map, we are most likely bound to get the pizzeria place for sure as the actual map itself. It would be very stupid to have Five Nights at Freddy's chapters without the pizzeria itself. It's where everything happens at the end of the day. So I am around 90% sure that we're going to have the pizzeria place as actual map for this chapter. As for the survivor, a lot of people have been speculating about who is going to be the survivor here. I feel like it's going to be Mike from the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. I feel like it would make very much sense to have him as the survivor. As for the killer, I think is going to be Springtrap. However, I have been talking to a lot of broadcasters and the Dead by Daylight Discord server. Some speculate that it's going to be Springtrap. Some say it's going to be Golden Fred. However, I highly doubt it's going to be Golden Freddy, but anything it's possible. As for the power, if it is going to be Springtrap as the new killer, I feel like he needs to have some soul related power, since Springtrap is William Afton at the end of the day, and he did trap kids' souls into the animatronics. That's how the animatronics comes to life at the end of the day. They're just scared little kids. So I think that would be very much appropriate for him to have a soul-themed power. I also think that they're going to do some sort of jumpscare rhythm, similar to they did with the Onryo in the lobby. He's gonna have some jumpscare rhythm either in the lobby or in his power itself. I feel like he has to have it. I think it's almost appropriate that he do. I do also think that they could go a different route, such as they could do something like the Legion and Vecna together, in a way that they could mash all animatronics into one killer, such as the Legion, where we have Frank, Julie, Susie, and all of that. And for Vecna, whereas it has multiple different abilities, this killer, they could do something similar to that. For example, they could give him Foxy's Run. They could do Chica's Cupcake, for example, where the cupcake can just scout along generators and find survivors, or chase survivors in a way. So that could be also a very cool alternative. But even so, I feel like they could also add all the animatronics in the game. A cool idea that I had in mind that could potentially be implemented in the game, depending on the route that the devs are taking. They could be put in every single animatronic in the actual map, and they could roam around freely. Meaning that whenever the round starts, they could have every single animatronics already roaming the map, similar to Nemesis' zombies here. However, whenever a gen gets done, one of the animatronics returns back to normal statue, default statue mode, I guess you can say. And for every gen, every animatronic does that until, you have one gen left, meaning there's no more animatronics, and it will only be Springtrap as the actual killer. Or it could also go the other way around, meaning whenever a gen gets done, one of the animatronics comes to life, and for every single gen, one of the animatronics will actually be able to roam the map freely. That could also be a very cool possibility. It would make a lot of sense if it does. I feel like as well they could also add something in the animatronics where if the survivor gets too close to them, they will give the Springtrap a notification, and the Springtrap can actually control them for a short duration, 5 seconds or something like that, which would actually be very cool. But I think they would be a little bit OP in a certain way, so they might need to tweak something on that. However, everything is possible. As for the skins, for the survivor skins, I feel like they could do probably a Vanessa skin. Vanessa's the cop from the actual FNAF movie itself. That could be a possibility, and then maybe another Mike skin, from different outfits or something like that. That is another possibility. For the killer skins, I feel like we're bound to have every single animatronic as the skin. I feel like it's only fitting here. So we're gonna get Freddy, we're gonna get Bonnie, we're gonna get Chica, we're going to get Foxy, and maybe even the Balloon Boy as well. But for example, the Balloon Boy can also be as a charm, something like that. We're definitely going to have some themed charms or like banners or like profile icons, something like that. I think it's going to be like Bonnie or something, or Freddy as like the profile icon, or probably the pizzeria place as like a banner. That would be pretty cool. But for actual skins, I feel like other than all the animatronics, maybe they would also put Willie and Afton as a skin. I'm not sure if they would put them as a normal killer. I feel like maybe as a survivor. However, I think that's a little bit offshore since technically Springtrap is already Willie and Afton, as I said. So I don't think that's gonna happen, but it's always a possibility. Following out, I think this whole chapter itself, I feel like this would be one of the best chapters that Dead by Daylight has had in a while. Now, last chapter we had the goal and he's having a lot of mixed thoughts about it. I feel like this chapter here, a lot of people are going to actually enjoy. Either way, whatever route they choose to take on this chapter, I feel like they will have very positive reviews about this. A lot of people have been waiting for this chapter to be released for a while now. For me, even I've been waiting for like a year at this point. The moment I saw the tweet that Dead by Daylight released about the DBD X Five Nights at Freddy's, I was immediately hyped, and I know a lot of people are. So this is probably one of the most hyped chapters, if not the most hyped chapter in Dead by Daylight so far. I know this video was kind of a little bit short, but I just wanted to like actually give my thoughts about how this chapter could play out and how it could not play out. I think there's, as I said, it has a lot of different routes it could go, but I think there's a lot of strict also rules that I think the devs will need to follow, since Scott wants to make sure everything is done perfectly as he wants. So that is going to be it. If you have any other thoughts about this chapter, feel free to comment down below and I will do my best to reply to you. But anyways, I think I will also make this into a series where I just sit down and talk about new chapters that are coming on Dead by Daylight, or even Dead by Daylight itself. But anyways, with all that said, I hope you guys enjoyed and I will catch you guys in the next one. Have a good night, guys.